everyone, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. So happy to have you, and I hope that you'll stick around and hit the subscribe button down below to see all of my videos in the future. So this week I am doing the last video in my series for back to school, which is going to be my college advice slash college and popular opinion slash things nobody tells you about college, because I have a lot of tea to spill, and I hope that you guys really like this video. Please be sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and could benefit from these tips. And yeah, I hope that you guys like it. I will have the others linked up above throughout this video. My IB video is going to be more like study tips and more service hours and things of that nature if you also need that in college. And then my high school is more just like a general overview of high school advice. So anyway guys, let's go ahead and jump straight into it because I have so many tips. I feel like we're going to be here for a while. My first piece of advice is to buy your textbook used or online. And this kind of goes along with another tip I'm going to give in a second. But if you can find out before your class whether you're actually going to read the textbook or not, you can know whether you need to buy it or not. The worst classes are the ones where you have to get the code to do your like homework and stuff online. That is like the absolute worst. I hate that because you spend like $90 to $100 just to do your homework online. But if you don't end up needing your textbooks, you can not buy them, or if you do need them, buying used or buying online copies will save you a lot of money for the future. Unless you have a scholarship or a prepaid plan, please try to do your first 2 years of college at a community college. So I went to UCF, the University of Central Florida in Orlando, and I did all 4 years at UCF, and it did end up costing quite a bit of money, and I had prepaid and I had a couple scholarships, but my GPA dropped, and so after the first year, and so I lost it for my second 2 years, which is not good because that was money that I was counting on to have for school. And yeah, I'm just putting it out there that if you go to community college your first 2 years, you're going to save a lot of money, or if you dual enroll in high school, you're going to save a lot of money that you can get those classes out of the way without having to pay university fees and university tuition. And it's going to be very helpful to you in the long run. My next one kind of goes along with that, which is don't go to university unless you have scholarships, or like I said, prepaid or some other way of paying for it. Student loans are a big problem. I have all of my friends pretty much have significant amounts of student loans, and that's something that's going to follow you around for a long time, because no matter how much you pay off, you're still paying interest on those student loans. And so that is something that could literally take you your whole life to pay, especially if you don't end up going into that field that you got the degree for, or you don't end up using your degree at all. That is something very like negative that you don't want to have on your debt for your whole life. And so going to community college could save a lot of that money, and or even online college. There's so many different ways than just feeling the pressure by like friends and family to go to university, which is a lot of extra money for sure. My next tip I mentioned in another video, which is to color code notes. I find this so helpful if you do like your topics in one color, your subtopics in another color, and your special notes or things like that in another color. Use highlighters. I think this is so important because sometimes when you're studying, you're looking for a specific key passage, and if everything is in black, you're just not going to be able to see it on the page. But if you have some highlighter, things like that, you'll find things that you needed to know pretty quickly off the bat, and hopefully that can help you guys in the future. My next tip kind of goes along with that one, and I also said it in my IB program video, which is don't throw anything away. Your semesters in college are so short. They're like 4 months, And if you just save like all of your notes from the very beginning, when you have your finals at the end of the semester, you're going to be so much more better off because you're going to have all of those notes to go back and look at. Because some professors do a cumulative final, which means that they do everything that you've covered the whole time that you've been in their class. And then some professors split it up, so they'll do the midterm as the first half of the semester and then the final is the second half of the semester. But even if you're like in a math class or something similar, and you are doing your final, you may be covering things that have like a prerequisite, is that the right word I'm looking for, prerequisite, of like things that you have to learn before you can nail this particular method, if that makes sense. Basically what I'm trying to say is you're probably going to need those notes, so don't throw it away. And also, if you have your major picked out already and it's declared, then I would definitely suggest not throwing away a lot of the notes that you know you're going to have other similar classes for, because there were several times throughout my classes my senior year where I was like, oh, I really wish I had this theory or this philosophy still written down because I don't remember who said it or where I got it from, but I specifically remember learning it, and I definitely wish that I still had those notes, for sure. My next tip, this is probably like the biggest piece of advice that I could give. Use Rate My Professor. That is so important. So Rate My Professor, if you don't know, is a website. It's free, I believe, or at least it was when I went to college. And you put in the professor's name when you're picking your syllabus and picking your schedule for the next year. Why did I say syllabus? When you're picking your schedule for the next semester, you put in your professor's name and it's going to bring up all these results for people that have had them before, and it tells you very important things like, are you going to use a textbook? Are you going to be studying a lot? Are you what's some other things that they say? How's the attendance? How's homework? All of those things. And people are going to give you very good feedback on those professors. For example, they didn't really seem to know what they were talking about, or they're very knowledgeable in their field. And those are all very, very important things when you are paying for your education and paying for someone to teach you the things that they know. You don't want to pay for a professor who has no clue what they're talking about, or a professor that literally makes you just read the textbook and doesn't teach their class. So definitely suggest Rate My Professor. It saved me lots of times from getting a professor that I would not have been happy with. Specific classes, there's only one professor that you can have, but for most part, when you can pick your professor, I definitely think that it is very helpful to use Rate My Professor. My next tip kind of goes a little bit along with that, which is to plan your classes ahead of time, specifically like when you a while in advance, I would say. When I was a freshman, I was one major, and then I think halfway through that semester I changed to a different major. So there's definitely a lot of potential to change your major, but I would definitely suggest to plan your classes ahead of time, or when you do change your major, to plan your classes ahead of time, because I got to the point where I was in my senior year, and the day, like the last day that I could sign up for classes, which was when classes had already started, I found out that I needed a class that was only taught in the spring semester. It was not taught in the fall semester. So if I had not registered for that class, I literally would not have graduated college the following semester, and I would have had to go back to school the next semester literally just for that one class. So definitely plan ahead, because sometimes you might not know specific classes that are only taught in the spring or only taught in the fall. Or even too, I had one professor who taught one specific class that you had to have for your degree and for your graduation, and she went on a what's it called when you're gone for a while? I'll put the word right here. But yeah, she was gone, and I emailed her and was like, hey, I really need your class for the fall to graduate. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna be there. I was like, great, what am I supposed to do? And luckily they had another professor teaching another class that they just kind of finagled to let me graduate. So definitely plan in advance and get those classes over with. That is my best piece of advice I can give. If you have to work, online classes are the best. I took online classes at UCF, and I absolutely loved them, honestly, because I could do them on my own time, on my own schedule. I could manage my time in my own way. And I know online classes are not for everybody. Like my husband personally benefits from being in a classroom and learning from a professor, but if you are able to take online classes and succeed with them, I definitely recommend them, because if you're working 40 hours a week or whatever, however many hours a week you need to work to get through college, that is the best, because you can do it when you get home or before work, on the weekends, instead of having to plan your work schedule around your classes. I did this for a lot of my classes and it was very, very beneficial to me. So I definitely would recommend that. If you are working, it is a very, very useful tip in my opinion. Okay, my next piece of advice is, if you can, do a lot of internships. So this was not possible for me personally because I was paying for a lot of my living expenses while I was in college. But if you have parents that are able to support you or another means of getting an income, definitely use your time very wisely in college and do internships. Internships are like the biggest way to get a job outside of college, and almost every job I've applied for since I graduated college, you need like 5 years of experience or at least 2 internships, and I don't have those things under my belt. So if you are going to college for the purpose of getting a job, which I think a lot of people do, then I definitely recommend doing internships if you are able to during that time. All right, my next piece of advice is to research your career throughout your college experience. This one is very, very important because I honestly, I thought about what I wanted to do, but I didn't really know for sure. I just knew I wanted a college degree, so I just kind of went for something that I was interested in. So I was a humanities and cultural studies major. That translates to not a lot of jobs available once you graduate from college. So I didn't really think about that. I have a lot of backup options in the future, like being a teacher or a professor if I wanted to go back to school. But those are personally things that I am not really interested in right now. So definitely research that your time, because your university or your college probably has a lot of resources available to you that you can use throughout your time, like ways to find jobs, or why can't I think of words today? Networking, like people you can network with, and also people in your classes you can network with. And definitely just keep that in mind, that your end goal is to get a job. If that is your end goal, I know some people go to college for different things, but if that is your prerogative, then definitely keep that in mind throughout your entire experience and work a little bit towards it every day. My next piece of advice is to be wary of roommates. I personally did not have the greatest experience with roommates, and I regret the level of trust that I gave to a lot of my roommates, and I wish that I had been a little bit more cautious of myself and my emotions and the things that I told people. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that these are brand new strangers that you've never met before, unless you are going with people from high school or your siblings or things of that nature. But I just want to put that out there to be wary, because you never know what could happen, and there are a lot of roommate horror stories. So I'm just throwing in that little disclaimer. My next piece of advice, this is a safety tip, ladies and gentlemen, which is don't leave your drink anywhere. If you're drinking at parties, don't leave it anywhere. Don't give it to somebody you just met. Give it to somebody you trust if you have to go to the bathroom or something. This is a very, very serious problem at colleges, is roofies and other drugs that can inhabilitate you and cause you a lot of harm. So just be very cautious what you're drinking at a party, what you're eating at a party. I suggest making the drink yourself or watching somebody make it for you. But just be very careful. You can never be overly cautious, and you definitely don't want to have that on your psyche. Is that the right word? And you definitely want to protect yourself, so just be very wary of that. The next thing is, it's okay to take a break, and also college is not for everybody. This I cannot stress enough. I've said it in all of my videos I've done in this series. If you don't know what you want to do, if you don't know what you want your career to be, if you feel like college maybe is a little bit too hard, you're struggling with your classes, There's nothing wrong with taking a semester off, taking a year off, and going back when you have decided what you want to do or have grown a little bit and invested more time into yourself. You know, there's so many different reasons, but there's nothing wrong with taking a break or a little hiatus from college. And there's also nothing wrong with stopping college altogether if you feel like it's not for you, if you get another job, if you find another career path. There's nothing wrong with that at all. There's nothing wrong with college either. Like, there's different paths for everybody, but college is just so ingrained in us that I just want everybody to know that if it's not working out for you and you're not enjoying it, that you absolutely don't have to do it. And trust me, years down the road, if you get that degree and then you're stuck with like $100,000 in student loans debt, you are definitely going to regret it, because a lot of my friends are regretting it right now. So I just wanted to put that little piece of advice in there. Okay, my next piece of advice is to not throw out your student ID. Even after you graduate, your student ID can get you hecka discounts, and it's very, very beneficial. You can get like movie tickets and discounts at restaurants and a lot of other things that do student discounts. So definitely don't throw that out. Keep it in your wallet and keep it with you whenever it's convenient. Or even like museum admissions and stuff, sometimes they give student discounts, so they can definitely come in handy in the future. Take advantage of your college's amenities. This is something I regret heavily that I did not do. So my college had this expansive library with so many books and movies and film reels and newspapers and magazines that I literally used maybe 2 times. It had this incredible gym, which was absolutely massive, and I literally went to the gym 2 times, and I wish I would have gone more. It had swimming pools, it had all kinds of amenities that I rarely used, and I really wish that I could go back and use those now. So definitely take advantage of them while you're paying for them. You might as well, and it's gonna be something that I think that you will treasure in the long run, because you'll have all those memories and all the experience that you gathered from using those amenities. My next piece of advice is to get involved in extracurriculars. I feel like this is something that people don't really think about when it comes to college, is extracurriculars, but I can assure you that extracurriculars are still very beneficial to you. They can help you get jobs, and also the more important thing in my opinion is they can help you make friends, which is super important, because in college I feel like sometimes it's very difficult to make friends, and extracurriculars can help you find friends in your, what are you doing? In your group of things that you enjoy doing. So if you like Disney, you could go to a Disney club and meet friends there. Or if you like sports, you can join a sports club or a sports team and meet friends there. There's so many different options, but that's definitely a good one for sure. My next piece of advice is to find a way to plan. So I personally really love a planner. That's where all my notes are for this video, and I take all of my like podcasting notes and stuff in here as well. Some people don't like written planners. Some people like planners on their phone, or voice reminders, or there's so many different options. So my best advice is to find something that works for you and stick with it. If it's getting a planner, get a planner, and if it's doing your phone stuff, then stick with it and just keep yourself going, because that's definitely going to help you stay focused and stay organized throughout your time at college. And lastly, guys, my last piece of advice is to savor every moment. I cannot stress this enough. I genuinely miss college almost every day. I enjoy learning. I enjoy being in that environment. I enjoy the football games, even though I honestly didn't go to a football game throughout my experience in college. I got into football kind of after. I miss the people that I got to spend time with. I miss just so many things, and I am grateful for my college experience, going right next to Disney and working at Disney and Universal at my time there, and I'll never forget it. So now I'm getting emotional, so I gotta stop talking about it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that some of these tips / unpopular opinions can help you, and I hope that this video can benefit your life in some way. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button before you head out, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. and I will see you guys next week on my next video. Stay healthy, stay safe. Bye!